3, 2, 1.
Hi, this is Michael Butler, and let's get ready for EJ Boxing Live.
Yeah, how you doing, fight fans? Hope everyone's doing okay. So we're continuing the series. So we have continuing this series where we left off with Jack Johnson being harassed by the government, being harassed by the people that be, the powers that be, and so obviously I've titled this Jim Jeffrey, Jeff Willard, Jack Dempsey, and Gene Tunney. So let me continue where we left off. So as we left off, where we are. So he's been harassed. He's been awarded a belt. He does beat what's his name again? The Boilermaker, and he's got his belt. He's celebrating his belt. He's been to Chicago. Jack Johnson been to Chicago. He just beat Jim Jeffries and been to Chicago and celebrating the belt. And that's the championship belt you can see around his waist that they had at the time. And yeah, there's the rose thing and that. So he couldn't really celebrate in the ring because, you know, obviously people were upset and there was a riots and stuff like that. So they've got the picture of him selling the belt. So they went about looking for a next contender for the championship. So as you know, obviously, Sam Lamford has always been number one contender. They fought and they had a draw. So Sam Lamford wanted to fight him, Jack Johnson, this there, the colourful belt there. And Sam Lamford was looking to fight him. There's Sam Lamford right there for number one contendership because he felt like, I need to get a crack at the whip. Now you've got the belt, give me a shot. We're at a draw. Let's fight. And Jack Johnson, well, it's a bit too hard. That's a bit too hard challenge. I need to make more money. I mean, if we fight each other, I don't think there's enough money in the pot for me to my lifestyle. So he bypassed Sam Lamford, which is most people observe they, give Sam Lamford a shot. When they fought for the color belt, Jack Johnson had to fight them hard fights there. So he thought, I need a bit easier challenger, but definitely to draw the money in. So he went about looking for another one challenger. The number one contender, we could say on the white champions there, was this man over here, Stanley Ketchel. Now, this picture here, as you can see, and there's all the names over here, John L. Sullivan, John Coffey, and all these guys, Billy Jordan. Billy Jordan was the ring announcer in there. Billy Lang, there's Bob Fitzsimmons, Tom Sharkey, and yeah. So over you can see in the corner, this is the picture of ringside of the Jeffries and Johnson contest in Reno, Nevada, in July the 4th. And so Stanley Ketchel was there observing it, and most people think, well, he's the middleweight champion, he's the best, say, white challenger out there for him. Or they think, well, maybe there was probably another, you know what I mean? But they thought, you know what, get Stanley get a shot. And Jack Johnson said, you know what? Yeah, okay, we could do that. We could do it, Tommy. And middleweight champion Stanley Ketchel is a formidable man in his own right. Listen, young, hungry, and most people think he was a beast in the ring. It's just a bit small, but a beast in the ring. There's a little thing about Stanley Ketchel. Stanley Ketchel was the hardest hitting and most electrifying fighter of them all. Right, that's what they said. These are the reporters. The reporters, in my opinion, the most electrifying anything would probably be Sam Lamford, in my opinion. Yeah, but that's these are the biased of the day. The sports writers of the day at the time, and he once hid his what's it identified? What's it? It once had his identified and hid his identification and knocked out 4 opponents in one night. So obviously, I don't know if that's true or not. He shot his he shot his best pal. Oh, he shot his best pal and was crazy enough to try and double cross Jack Johnson. This guy's crazy. Do we mean he shot his best pal? He shot his best friend? And pal, that's the word they use in it. Shot his best friend. And crazy enough though. Okay, but what they're talking about is that Stanley Ketchel and Jack Johnson. 1 second. Let me get some water. 1 second. 1 second, people. right, that's better. So basically, Stanley Ketchel and Jack Johnson, they agreed, yeah, that the first contest, yeah, I think they was gonna say is gonna be a draw. There's them and there's then the poster for the fight, and they're posing together the contract. So they're gonna be a draw, and the second one, they we can see whoever wins gonna wins that fight. So Stanley Ketchel agreed to them stipulations, but somewhere in the fight, yeah, he decided to change it. He changed his mind in the fight, but we'll go into that. So as you can see, Stanley Ketchel, it looks like he's near enough the same height as Jack Johnson. He's got these boots on, but he's got these boots in his pictures to make him look taller. These big cowboy boots, as you can see right here, make himself look taller in this picture here. So that's the promoter or whatever at the time. So so we're going into the fight. They agreed on that, and these are the pictures. Going into the fight, this is them posing off in the fight and getting ready for the fight. There's Jack Johnson's team and there's Stanley Ketchel's team. So he decided in the fight at some point, he said, "Nah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna go for it." And in the fight, inexplicably, he knocked down Jack Johnson. Jack Johnson was surprised. He put all his might and put the heavyweight champion down. You know what I mean? And Jack Johnson realized at that point this guy's actually trying to win the championship, man. I'm telling you, we're within a couple of seconds of Jack Johnson hitting the deck here. And by the way, Jack Johnson was peppering Stanley Ketchel. Even Stanley Ketchel went down into it. Jack Johnson grabbed him and picked him up a couple of times. Carrying him, what you say these days, literally carrying the fighter in this fight. And there's the picture. There's the crowd and the referee there watching the crowd on hand. He landed a cracker right hand. He landed a great right hand. Like I said, a great right hand dropped Jack Johnson. All right, and he tried to finish him off. Jack Johnson realized at this point, this guy's trying to hurt me. You see the blood all in Stanley Ketchel's face there, right there. Jack Johnson realized this guy is going to hurt me. So Jack Johnson then, after Stanley Ketchel missed with one of his big left, he got a great deep dish right uppercut Stanley Ketchel's jaw, man. And when this uppercut landed, yeah, he not only did he knock him out, he shattered the guy's teeth in his mouth. Listen, that's why you don't double cross Jack Johnson. And listen, this guy ended up sprayed out on the canvas, as you can see there, in like crucifixion, like Jesus Christ across the canvas. And Jack Johnson, while he's resting his arms in the ring, he polishes off the teeth embedded in his gloves. And that's so you don't double cross Jack Johnson. He got counted out. So the middleweight champion, Stanley Ketchel, got out. And later on, Stanley Ketchel, this is, I don't know, not too sure about this, but this is what people was reported to say, that he got caught. I think he was sleeping with his best friend's wife or something like that, and someone shot him in the back while he was sleeping his breakfast. He was only 24 years of age. He did a lot in his life, but he was considered one of the greatest middleweight champions of all time. The Michigan Marble is Stanley Ketchel. But Jack Johnson obviously retained his world championship, and he's looking for other contenders. Now, there was other contenders that I could have put in this series here, but straight get into the lineage of or should I say, the man who beat the man championship. So Jack Johnson's got a belt, and obviously the government are still upset with him. They're still trying to ramrod him with trying to say he's bringing females across the line and bringing women for immoral purposes. And so the government's after him, and loads of people are after Jack Johnson. So Jack Johnson agrees to a fight in Havana, Cuba, versus Jess Willard. You see the arrogance of Jack Johnson looking down. But these times, Jack Johnson's been out the ring for about a couple of years, and he thought, you know what, I need to fight. I'm still the world champion. And Jess Willard himself, coming into the fight, actually killed a man killed a man in the ring. Don't know one notably, but it's pretty game, tall, young, strong guy. He's tall, and Jack Johnson, the heavyweight, they agreed to about 45 something rounds, a lot of rounds they agreed to. And Jack Johnson said, yeah, okay, cool. You know what I mean? And whoever you want to believe at this time, a lot of people feel that Jack Johnson coming into this fight, what's he got left? So they agreed the handshake, and the fight is on in Havana, Cuba. And Jess Willard, he's taking a lot of Jack Johnson, but Jack Johnson comes up really fast, tries to knock him out. And Jess Willard, he's still there. He's still there, young, game, tough guy. And eventually, Jack Johnson got worn out, and Jess Willard landed a cracking right hand and put him down to the ground. And for the first time, the championship for the next time, but the color champion, undisputed champion, Commonwealth, bare knuckle, is the championship get changed, and we have a new champion in Jeff Willard, the Potomy Giant. His nickname was. Now here in this picture, with a little controversy stems that Jack Johnson threw the fight because he's got knocked down and he's covering his eyes. And he said he took money to cover the fight because at this point, the legal people are so after him. That's why the fight was in Havana, Cuba, that that if he agreed to throw the fight, then he can come back to America. His mom was very sick, so he can go and see his mom. And so this is what, Jack Johnson said. So he agreed to throw the fight. He reckoned he could have beat Jeff Willard. In any case, the championship has been changed over, and we have a new champion in Jeff Willard. And Jack Johnson went to jail for the Mann Act for transporting women across state lines for immoral purposes. They made a rule specially where the Mann Act was for pimps and prostitutes, which Jack Johnson wasn't. But they made him to go to jail for a year, and he came out and. He's bitter with America. He was upset. Same like John L. Sullivan, feel like America did him wrong. All he ever was trying to be a great champion and live his life, and a lot of people just didn't like him. So the championship was gone, and Jack Johnson's era is over. Now we have Jeff Willard, the Potomy Giant, has the heavyweight championship, and we'll see how he does going into the future. So this undisputed champions has passed through. The number one contender still at this point would be Sam Lanford, George, and Sam Lanford would be probably number one contender. That Jeff Willard, he bypassed him, wasn't really looking for him. Sam Lanford is still formidable opponent. So the next guy, Jeff Willard, I mean, he defended his belt a couple of times, but the next guy, but he's getting old a bit now. So this is obviously lifestyle. Jeff Willard is one of them guys there. He's when he was championship. He's not a wild guy. He kind of religious guy. He keeps himself to himself. But we've got the new up and coming young contender here, and his name is the Manasseh Mauler, Jack Dempsey. And Jack Dempsey has his nickname used to be Kid Blackie. He's a pretty wild west kind of fighter. Fights in boxing saloons at the time. Bars, getting into fights, associate with prostitutes, and he's just a wild game guy that most America can relate to. That kind of, what I mean? It's like I ain't taking nothing from no one. And in Jeff Willard, on the other hand, he kind of have that kind of mode of just keeping himself, almost like what's his name again? Not Jeff. What's his name again? Jim, not Jim Cornette. What's the other guy? Jim Jeffries. Kind of keeps himself to himself. That kind of guy. Like Jim Jeffries used to go to his Alfalfa farm and just kill. And Jeff Willard is similar type of guy. A quiet guy, not really wanting the media didn't really want the media spotlight on him and stuff like that. But Jack Dempsey, different. He's a new up and coming young guy, embracing everything that's new. And this is the 1990, and boy, so we're gonna get this fight on. They're gonna get it on, so we're gonna get into the fight and see how this fight goes. The champion versus the challenger, and straight off the gate, as soon as the bell rang, the Manasseh Mauler is all over Jeff Willard, all over him, just brutal. One of the most brutal 3 rounds at that time in boxing history. And you see how much he's outweighed. Obviously, the height difference, as you can see, but look at the state of Jeff Willard's face. Now, many people said that Jack Dempsey had something in his gloves he was hitting him with, but I'm not too sure about that, because if you had something in the gloves, you're fisting that. I think it's more to do with the ferocity as he's throwing his punches, and he's breaking cheekbones in Jeff Willard's face. His blood silking. You can see the blood on his leg. He breaks his cheekbone, knocked out most of his teeth in his mouth, and it is savage. Absolutely savage. The first round was savage. He fell down like 3-4 times in the first round. It's absolutely brutal. Going into the first fight, so the fight with Jess Willard in July 1990 in Toledo, Ohio. And a capacity crowd as well, massive crowd. So definitely brought the big money back into the boxing since Jack Johnson and Jim Jeffries. The big time boxing came in. We got a new up and coming young fighter, and I tell you, man, it was savage, absolutely savage. And see, picture there, Jack Dempsey in the corner, just calm and relaxed. And I tell you, he went back in there around in the third round. He put an assault, absolutely assault on him, and he left the giant, the epitome giant, down multiple times on the canvas, and until eventually, like, he got beat down. I tell you what, though, he got out the third round, though, and he got out the third round, but he retired. He retired on the canvas, and no, he retired in his corner. And the new champion is claimed that his name, the Manassa Mauler Jack Dempsey, and people are elated. He's the champion that most people love, wanted to be a champion since Jim Jeffries. They love Jack Dempsey. Just the way he is. He's kind of mind them of General Sullivan in that regards, that they bringing exciting knockouts back. That's what people kind of miss. Them kind of, a lot of fights they went the distance. Jack Dempsey, I ain't trying to do that. I'm trying to bring in, get paid, knock out, and go home and do what I'm doing my business. And Jack Dempsey at the time, man, he was associated with Charlie Chaplin and all the Hollywood media at the day. I think he went out with Estelle Taylor. It was a movie star as well. And yeah, man, he was living a life, boy, in the 20s. So in 1920s, he was living a life. There's a lot of money going around America. America was doing quite prosperous at that time. So Jack Dempsey is the new champion, the Massa Mauler, and Jeff Willard lost his belt, and he retired and went back to his farm and to continue his life. So we have a new champion on the scene, undisputed champion in Jack Dempsey. The number one contender at the time, his name, is obviously the Black Panther, Harry Wills, who fought in multiple fights against Sam Lanford. And Harry Wills, most people think Harry Wills should get a shot at the championship. And obviously, Sam Lanford wants his shot, but he's, multiple contests, they fighting backwards and forwards. He's a formidable opponent, Sam Lanford, the color champion, 6 foot something, strong, young, but Jack Dempsey's got the belt, and they really don't want to have another black champion to try and get the belt since Jack Johnson, because Jack Johnson brought a lot of controversy. So they kind of like barring out the color champions at this time. They don't really want him to fight at this time. Sam Wills, look at him. Sam, you can see even these pictures here. He's a formidable opponent, fit, strong. He would have give Dempsey fits, man. He would have give Dempsey fit. The colored champions on the colored line, they were really hard men, I'm telling you. And the Black Panther, it wouldn't have been easy for Jack Dempsey to face him. So I can understand why Jack Dempsey, but Jack Dempsey under pressure, and there's Sam Lanford as well, another one contender as well, who's getting on a bit, by the way, but he still feels like he's got enough to challenge Jack Dempsey. So these guys are knocking on the door with Dempsey, but Dempsey at the time is like, I need to find another opponent. So there's these two. They have these battles. They had multiple battles. They believe they had 18 fights amongst each other, backwards and forwards, because that's to make money. Because the white other champion, or the white champion, Willard and Dempsey wouldn't fight him. So Sam Lanford getting on a bit, and their contest, they won backwards and forwards each other, and some really great fights they had each other. But it's just end of the day, it's just they had to fight each other, but they wouldn't get a shot at where the most money was. And in prize fighting, that's what you fight for the money. So trying to get a fight with Jack Dempsey, so they continue fighting each other until hopefully Jack Dempsey would recognize them. So there's Harry Wills with his wife, and you can see 6 foot odd, strong. Even in this picture here, sturdy, strong guy. And I tell you what, mate, this guy here, him and Jack Dempsey, that would have been a good fight. But he fighting Sam Lanford back in the days, or Sam Lanford fighting him out. Dempsey said, nah. Well, Dempsey promoter Jack Hearn at the time, and the promoter Tex Rickard, they kind of said, we kind of like we understand you're the number one contender and that. And he actually, they met up. They actually met up and signed. They actually met up and signed the contest for Jack Dempsey to fight Sam Wills, who they feel, because Dempsey was living a life. He was inactive for like 4 years without even defending his belt, and Sam Lanford was campaigning for their belt. So they signed the fight, but then inexplicably Tex Rickard changed his mind, and they brought in the next contender, The next contender, and they went next contender they brought in is this guy here, the Fighting Marine, Gene Tunney. Gene Tunney they bring in. They felt like, you know, he's been doing pretty well. He beating guys, beat George Carpentier coming through, and yeah, he beat a lot of pretty good guys. I think Fido Fermo he beat a lot of guys coming in to get his spot in there. And Dempsey said, okay, you know, I'll give him a shot. The Marine, he's well spoken, well guy. Kind of Jack Dempsey look kind of underestimating their team, underestimating him because he has the kind of what would you say aura like Gentleman Jim Corbett, the kind of well-spoken man that you think when you meet the guy, yeah, he's a tenderfoot. I could probably beat him, even though he's been to the army. He shows he's tough, but Dempsey was looking at him like, not. I don't think it's up. He had a great fight, but both of them actually fought Harry. Didn't well. Gene Tunney especially fought Harry Greb and lost to Harry Greb. The only guy lost on his record is Harry Greb beat him, and Jack Dempsey brought Harry Greb in for sparring, getting ready for his fights, and he's brutal. Harry Greb got the better of the both of them, but both of them recognize that, you know, we can probably put in a good fight, and there's enough money, you know, there's enough money in the pot, and so they agreed. And Harry Wills is ineffectively he's out the picture, so these guys agreed, and the great fight is on. So Jack Dempsey is going to defend his belt against. I ain't gonna say Gene Tunney was number one contender. I was gonna say that it would have been good to see Gene Tunney versus Harry Wills or something like that for them to fight, the right to fight Jack Dempsey. But in any case, it never happened. And Jack Dempsey, Gene Tunney, fight number one is on. So in the first, so Jack Dempsey, like I said, he's inactive for a while. And there you go. There's fighting me. Well, dashing. Like I said, like a Gentleman Jim Corbett. We could dash in, what do you call it? Spiffing, smooth and debonair. Let me see this picture. Smooth and debonair movie looks is Gene Tunney. And but like I said, underneath that veneer of just looking smart, this guy is a rough, tugged guy, man. And you know what? Actually, he was doing. There's actually film footage of him and Jim Jeffries. Not Jim Jeffries. Him and Gentleman Jim Corbett working together on little techniques, getting ready for this fight. Actually, I should have showed the technique of them actually doing little moves to get ready for this fight. And I tell you what, Gentleman Court showed him some good tactics, you know, how to tie him up and stuff like that, which really good. And the 5 minute is ready. He got himself in tremendous shape. Dempsey on the other hand, I think he's living a lifestyle. I'm not too sure, and he's getting on a bit. And he's like got the idea like John L. Sullivan, where he feels like he needs someone right in front of him to be successful as Jack Dempsey. And fighting mean, if you use tactics and jab, punch, box, move around, you'll tire out Dempsey. Eventually you'll tire him out. And Dempsey, like, he'd been active for a bit, so that was his strategy coming in. And so fight 1 coming in, Dempsey, Tunney. And so there you go. They just match up face to face. And there's Jack Kearns in there. And Dempsey started to perceive a beating. He really got a good smashing. The referee shocked as well. Tunney just jabbing the heck out of his face and just kept jabbing him. Dempsey chasing him around, trying to land that big left hook was not there. I mean, it's all right landing on Jess Willard when you got someone 6'6", right? 6'5" or 6'6", whatever. But Tunney wasn't there, and he kept boxing, beautiful bounce on his feet, and he was in tremendous shape. And Dempsey couldn't find him. They fought for 10 rounds, and even in the fight, he got dropped. You know, he got dropped, put down in the fight. You know, put down in the fight. The referee gave him a count, and we have a new undisputed heavyweight champion. His name Gene Tunney. And most people, when they did, they was livid. They was upset with Dempsey. I can't believe he lost to this tenderfoot. Who's this guy? This guy, he actually he was with all the great nerds at the time, and people they're like steak and potatoes. They like the heavyweight champion to be vicious and mean and grisly and knockout. They couldn't relate to this guy. They couldn't relate to this guy's well spoken. It didn't capture the population. So people demanded the rematch. There's Gene Tunney. He's got his name on. You see his name on the belt there. So he's the new heavyweight champion, of the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. So they demanded a rematch for him to go back in there with Dempsey. So Dempsey, Tunney 2, the rematch is on, and there's the poster for it. Yeah, so it's in Soldier Fields, September the 2nd, 1927, Chicago, Illinois. Price is 50 cents. That's how much it is. That's how much it is. It's gone up from the other one. I think the other one, what was the other one? 30. I think the other one, when Jack Johnson and Jim Jeffries, I think it was like $30 at the time. So it's gone up. This one's gone up by £20. 20. Oh, 50 cent. Oh, price. Oh, maybe this price of the poster, 50 cent. Maybe it was 50 cent to go watch the fight. It's probably cheap though. But for the World Heavyweight Championships, yeah. So that's the poster for the second fight, and challenger Dempsey trying to get his belt back, to try and be the first guy to get the heavyweight championship back, and Gene Tunney, see if Gene Tunney can hold it. So the fight is turned into a fight of the ages, where Jem Dempsey's all in the fight. Now, aggressively came in and he unleashed a barrage of punches, which caught Tunney on the rope when he tried to back out. Flurry, a barrage of punches, which put Gene Tunney down on the canvas. Now, they had the new rule. This is where the new rule comes in, yeah? Where basically, when a man gets knocked down, there's a great picture here, by the way. When a man hits the canvas, you're supposed to go to the neutral corner. So back in the days, when a man hits the ground, Dempsey could stand right over the top and wait for him to get, so he can put him back down again, as he did with with Jeff Willard and even Jack Dempsey as well. Jack Johnson. That was the rules there. But they had these new rules of the Marquess of Queensberry, where when a man goes down, you have to go to the neutral corner. So Dempsey forgot that little stipulation was put into the rules that Dempsey wasn't aware of. He was aware of it, but he was so adamant of getting back at Gene Tunney as soon as he hit the camera. He wanted to finish him off, that the referee delayed the count. And this fight is called the Battle of the Long Count. Battle of the Long, because the count, he actually down the cameras longer than 10 seconds. Right, longer than 10 seconds, because him and the referee are battling for Dempsey to go to the neutral corner. Look, there he's giving Dean Tunney the count. Yeah, Dempsey fighting to go into the corner. See, look, he went to the corner because Dempsey went to the corner nearest to where Tunney, so he can get back right on him. And the referees instructs him to go to the other corner, the neutral corner over there. And this is giving Tunney time to get up, giving Tunney breathing time to get up. And most people say that if the referee, if that never happened, yeah, Dempsey would have got back on Tunney and Dempsey would have got his belt back. But Gene Tunney got himself back up and dusted himself, and he proceeded to outpoint Dempsey very handily. Only one round, yeah. There's only one round where Dempsey had his success, and that was that round. Other than that, there was no success. No success with Dempsey. Just that one round, but that one round is the one that most people remember, because they so badly wanted Dempsey to reclaim his heavyweight championship, and it wasn't to be, man. And Dempsey lost, and Dean Tunney would have got back up to box him and decision him and retain his championship. Now, what happened with Gene Tunney? Now, there, like I said, Harry Wills and there was Sam Lamford still there, but Gene Tunney said, you know what? Because he got so much backlash, and he did get a lot of backlash for beating Dempsey twice. The public couldn't take him, so he decided to retire. And the lineage of the Undisputed Champion ended there in Gene Tunney. So he said farewell to the boxing. You can have it. You know, I've got better things to do. You know, I beat the best out there twice. There's nothing out where he beat the champion, but he didn't beat number one contender, which is Sam Lamford and Harry Wills. Harry Wills would have been good against Gene Tunney. You know, we would like to see that fight, but he decided to retire. So the belt is there, left in vacant, and for the first time, well, this is the second time a reigning champion has retired. The first one was Jim Jeffries, who retired, but he came back to fight Jack Johnson. So this is the second time the active champion has retired with his championship, and he decided to retire because of the backlash, and so the belt is vacant. That Jack Dempsey also, well, he came back, had a comeback against some other guy, but he never challenged for the title again, so he retired. So that's more or less of that era is over, and you know, and the color champions are still there vying to get their shot like Jack Johnson did, and they still wanted their title shot. So Gene Tunney retired there. So now Gene Tunney in retiring, it took quite a few guys. There was Max Schmeling, there was Jack Sharkey, and these new other fighters there. But the next guy to lay claim to put the heavyweight championship back in the map is this guy here. this guy here is Joe Louis. Now, Joe Louis, other than Jack Johnson, another black champion, black guy coming through. They didn't let no black guy fight for like 26 years. And also the fight film of Jack Johnson wasn't seen for like 20 something years after. But people feel like it's time for a black guy, the really good guy, to challenge for the belt. And he wasn't like Jack Johnson, who's wild and stuff like that. Well spoken, well polite, and he was endorsed by Gene Tunney. Gene Tunney, you see his Marine outfit. He's endorsed by Gene Tunney. He said, "Yo, you know what? He's a nice guy. I think this guy deserves a shot at a title." And the title was going by Primo Canera, Maxi Bear, and Jonathan, what's his name? Jim Braddock at the time. So definitely Joe Louis deserves his shot, and they're campaigning to give Joe Louis his shot. There's Jack Blackburn, who basically fought Joe Gans back in their days, and there's his team managers and stuff like that, and they're saying, "Look, we're gonna try and get your shot. 100% is gonna try and get your shot at the championship, and hopefully we're gonna do that." And that was their plan, to get Jack Johnson a shot at the championship, who was vacated by Gene Tunney, and numerous champions were fighting for. I think at this point, James J. Braggett is holding the belt, so, and they're trying to get him a shot at the undisputed heavyweight championship. And even though Sam Lanford never got his crack at the championship against Dempsey, against Tunney, against Wills, Joe Louis knew who he was, and he respected Sam Lanford. Sam Lanford was a very respected heavyweight, and even Sam Lanford, even though he never got the shot, he's partially blind in this picture here. He congratulates Joe Louis and wishes him all the best success that for him to go forward to be the next colored champion. And all the well wishes for Joe Louis. But Joe Louis, a lot of people like Joe Louis and his personality. And the next contenders, him and Sam Lanford there. He's got glasses on and stuff like that. So that's where we're gonna continue in the next championship. And the next number one contender coming through is Joe Louis. So Sam Wills didn't get his shot, and nor did Sam Lanford, but they're wishing Joe Louis all the best to go through. And that's where we're gonna probably continue this next series. I hope you guys enjoyed the series, and yeah, man, we're gonna continue this. So this the Undisputed Heavyweight Championship, the man who beat the man, it will continue. And I hope you guys enjoy. Make sure you thumbs it up. I'm EJ Boxing Live, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for coming over. Peace.